Hi everyone, Laura Renner here, founder of Freedom Makers, coming to you live this week to talk about our blog about defining failure. And in the blog, we talk about what does it mean to fail, or what is failure. And I always say that there really isn't failure unless you're not learning. And so, or some people say, well, if you're not trying, you're failing. But I don't necessarily agree with that, because there are things that I know I don't want to try. I'm not interested. And so why would I waste my time? And I just know that about myself, and I'm sure you know that about yourself. There are other things I don't try because I'm a little bit scared. And that's where I would say, yes, if you're not trying because you're scared, then that would be failure. So a couple things, I say it's failure when you're not learning. And so if you're making a mistake and you're not learning from it, you're just giving up, then that would say that I would count that as failure. And so I wanted to share an example from a business coach I spoke with recently, Pradner Leitner, and she gave a great example. She pointed out that when a baby is learning to walk, the first time that the baby tries to walk, it's going to fall, right? We all know that the baby falls. What if the baby then said, oh my gosh, I can't walk. I need to look at surgery. I need to look at maybe getting some pins inserted. I need to get a wheelchair, because that one time they tried, they thought that they couldn't walk. So, it takes a couple years, right? They take their first steps, but to get really comfortable on their legs takes a couple years, right? And the whole time they're trying, they're strengthening their leg muscles, they're strengthening their bones, they're growing, and they're getting the hang of how it works. And so think about your business, but also what you do in life. How many times do you just try something once and you're like, oh, I can't do it? And so especially with our businesses, right? You got to keep trying, you got to keep strengthening that muscle and the bones, growing the bones to have that habit, if you will, so that it's not a failure, right? And if you think back to your first couple years in business, some of the things you struggled with that were hard for you, that are like second nature now, and things that you're struggling with right now will be second nature in a couple years. And so because of that, in general, I don't view things as failure. I just see it as that was a lesson that I learned. That was an adventure that I went on, and I'm applying that to what I'm attempting or what I'm working on now. And, I joke with one of my friends when we're snowboarding. I oftentimes trick her into going on a much harder run than she would choose for herself. And so then, she'll fall, and I say, well, if you're not falling, you're not learning. And so I don't know how she feels about that, but that's what I always say. And so, if you're not making mistakes, if you're not failing, you're not learning, and then you're not growing. And so because of that, I just don't see things as failure. Even if you end up giving, throwing in the towel, turning off your business and going to do something else, that's not necessarily failure. It might be that you're done. You tried it, you got what you wanted out of it, or you sold it and that's a success, or you want to retire, or you're burnt out, so those are all fine reasons. Maybe a client wants to hire you and you're like, yeah, I could go for some steady income for a while. All of those are valid reasons. The only reason I would consider that a business failed was if you got scared and you didn't want to keep doing it because you did it out of fear. So that's my big thing, is that it's only a failure if you're not learning, or if you're scared, or if you're taking action out of fear. So check out our blog, see what we said about failure, and if you have some comments, feel free to add them below, and we will see you next week. We're heading into the fourth quarter. I was just on the phone with someone this morning. We're like, we're going to blink and the holidays will be here. Goes by fast, but all right. So take that approach of no failure into the last quarter, finish the year strong. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.